in your guys' opinion, is this movie a good turning point for Marvel? Like the last Quantumania is the last Marvel movie we talked about, and we were kind of like fell a little flat. So where are we at now? Do you think the
let me add one little thing on that. The next thing is Secret Invasion, which will be a Disney Plus TV show.
Yeah.
Buzz is they're saying that this is their Andor. And that's high praise. So if they can follow this up with a Andor quality Nick Fury TV show, I'll feel pretty good about Marvel right now.
Okay.
But we'll see. We'll see what goes on.
So here's the thing. Secret Invasion does actually look really good.
That trailer was awesome.
Yeah, I watched the trailer just kind of being like, oh, they're finally getting to, Nick Fury's thing, what he was doing or whatever, and Emilia Clarke is in it. And I was like, okay, whatever. And then I watched that trailer and I was like, oh, wait, like, this could actually be really good. What's happening right now? Yeah. Like, am I going to watch a Disney Plus series again for Marvel? Going back to Guardians of the Galaxy, though, is this a good turning point? It's really hard for me to say that this is a good turning point because of exactly what Casey said earlier. And that was one of the things that I wrote down and I got from a picture from people talking about this movie when he said Guardians 3 excels because it's a James Gunn movie first and an MCU movie second. That's why it's really hard. I think that that James Gunn made this movie incredibly well, and he did what he needed to do to give the Guardians their wrap and all of the closure that needed to happen, which is great. But because he did that, and like I said, I think that it's better this way. But because he did that, that's why I kind of struggle saying that, oh, this means the MCU is going to turn and go in the right direction. Number one, James Gunn's gone, right? Like, that's the number one thing. Oh, James Gunn did this movie. He's out of here. Number two, this movie wasn't really connected to the MCU. It's in the MCU, but it does not contribute hardly at all to the main Kang and multiverse storyline that they're telling right now. So to say that because this movie was good, the MCU is headed in the right direction is kind of a stretch for me, honestly.
And then add on top of that the last good Marvel movie was a Sony movie, which was not a Marvel movie, right? It kind of doesn't install confidence. But.
Exactly. So it's pretty tough.
So the question is, right, is like, and I'm sorry to cut you off, Tyler, if you had a thought here really quick, but the question is now is, does Marvel take this formula, this idea of what James Gunn is kind of leaving, and can they steal it and make it a little bit better in their own way, right? Copy it and go forward, or are they just going to be stuck? Like, oh, cool, we know what historical factory setting works. Do we step out of that?
Well, the next thing, like the big things coming up, right, are more experimental.
The Marvels.
We got Marvels, but then after that, we've got like Deadpool. That's going to be the first rated R one, and then they got Blade. That's going to be a rated R one. So like maybe they recognize that they don't need to be. I don't know. Maybe they recognize to give creators creative freedom because like the Blade script is being rewritten over and over to get it right. And then maybe they've realized that we don't have to be so family friendly that there's still a market. I don't know. I didn't look at the number of how much this one made over the weekend, but
I think it was $330 million.
Is that good?
Was the box office weekend? It's definitely solid, and it's
post COVID numbers. It's probably
I
good.
feel like COVID numbers. It's always like it's so hard to like compare to like because there's a lot of you see a lot of like new stuff. It's like it's not as big as Volume 2, but Volume 2 came out in 2017.
Exactly,
like a very very different world.
Yeah. The $330 million. It's definitely on track to make easily $1 billion, more than that, right? Which is. What is there? I think it's up to like 52 movies or something have crossed $1 billion ever, and it's on track to make that in a month or so, basically. So,
I think I'm kind of on the same thought process as everybody else, where I think that like it's definitely like my favorite movie since probably No Way Home or Endgame for sure. I did really like Wakanda Forever. Although, it had like some issues in it, but I did feel like there was a certain thing to it where you could tell like there was certain stuff in there that the director, if you're like, okay, this probably wouldn't be made like with a different director for like Wakanda Forever. And plus, it had like just like the worst, like the having Chadwick Boseman like pass the way that he did and like trying to get all that stuff. Like I still felt like that was a pretty solid. So. I think there's an opportunity there, but I do also think just in terms of like, you know, it's really good because it's a James Gunn movie and James Gunn is leaving, and it actually makes me more excited for like when his Superman movie comes out. And I was telling Vince this, I'm like, if he can like kind of like make that tone of like weird and like really like not like dark in a sense of like, because we've already had like a dark Superman and stuff like that, but like having
Brightburn.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. It makes Superman Brightburn. That's exactly what he should do.
You've got my interest peaked, sir.
I mean, that's a James Gunn produced.
It is.
Right
It
there.
is. It's true. But like, I don't know. It makes me more excited for the DC movies more than Marvel at this point. But I mean, there are certain, which is kind of crazy.
What year is it? What is happening?
This is 2015, like before Batman v Superman comes out. But no, like like I feel like it's good, but there's still like a lot of questions coming up because there's still like the Marvels is coming out. I thought that trailer looked good.
Same.
So Deadpool we already talked about, and then like Captain America 4. I'm not super sure what's going on with that one. Thunderbolts. I'm not very excited about the Thunderbolts.
I'm actually hopeful for the Thunderbolts. I like a good like kind of anti-hero hero movie type thing. So I'm excited for that one.
That's what I love about the Guardians stuff is
That's what they are.
They're just like complete anti-heroes. Like in a moment they're like, you know, we're trying to be good. We're the Guardians of the Galaxy. We're not going to kill anybody. And then as soon as like shit hits the fan, they're just like, kill everyone. We're saving Rocket. I don't care.
And we steal batteries because that's what we do, right?
I want to buy some batteries.
But no, I'm totally in agreement with you. Actually, you've led the conversation to briefly where I want to be. I'm more excited because of this being first a James Gunn movie. My interest has leaned back to DC completely, actually. Like, I'm hyped for what's coming out of Marvel, but the factory has produced a lot of stuff, and so now it's kind of like all the same to me. And honestly, my last most enjoyable movie was actually Endgame, because my wife and I are watching through. We watched Infinity War, and I got way hyped. Then we watched, I forget what's in the middle of that. I think it's Ant-Man and the Wasp. Then we watched Endgame, and I was like, whoa, it was amazing. And I was hyped about that one. And then, we watched this, and I'm like, oh, man. But, like, thinking about it, like, I'm more excited about James Gunn films than I am Marvel films. So that's kind of weird, and I don't mean to be, like, rude. I know this is a podcast that is highlighting a Marvel film, but it's a James Gunn film first.